Good morning everyone. My name is Abhay Singh and I welcome you all in today's video analysis of the Hindu. Today is 8th of July 2024 and we will start today's Hindu analysis with the first news headline for the day. And what is the first news headline for the day? The first and the foremost important news headline for the day is that the new private investment plan slumped to the 20-year low in quarter 1. Just rupees 44,300 crore of fresh outlays announced by the crores. The corresponding period in the past financial year recorded new investment announcements of nearly 7.9 lakh crore. Investors adopting a wait and watch approach, says economists. So basically, in the last year, in the same quarter, investors have invested about 7.9 lakh crore rupees, or they have made an announcement for investing the same amount. But in this year, in the year 2024, the quarter has witnessed just the outflow of rupees 44,300 crore rupees. So there is a dip in the investment. The main reason behind this dip is that various economists are suggesting that the various investors are adopting a wait and watch approach. That's why they are not investing in the market as of now. Now moving on to the next important news headline for the day. Next important news headline for the day. Now this is important for us. This news is important for us. So this is related to the gift city in Gandhinagar. The gift city in Gandhinagar, and some silver import is that is conducted, or that is done through the gift city. This particular article is related to that. Now moving on. In a major disruption for the bullion market, almost all of India's silver imports are now being handled by a few private players, bringing the white metal. White metal means silver from Dubai through the gift city exchange, which could cause significant revenue losses for the exchequer over the time. A trade research body has sought a probe into the relationship between export and import firms to identify and address any potential conflicts of interest, while warning that the silver market trend could extend to gold, platinum, and diamonds. Further disruptions, traditional import practices, and market dynamics. India imports of gold and silver from the UAE had jumped 210% in 2023-24 to 10.7 billion dollar. The silver imports stood at 5.4 billion dollars. So basically, the total imports from the UAE in the year 2023 jumped to 10.7 billion dollar. And the few important reason why this trade has saw a surge, that because India has signed an agreement, comprehensive economic partnership agreement with UAE, which allows a sort of free trade agreement, which is a kind of free trade agreement between India and UAE. Now, in May, 87% of India's global silver imports came from Dubai at a reduced 8% duty and were cleared through the Gift City Exchange in Gandhinagar, which has been clearing all silver imports from UAE since 2023. So basically, since 2023, since December 2023, all the white metal that is coming to India is coming through Gift City. Now the reduced duty is at 8%, and also India has signed a comprehensive economic partnership agreement. When importers from both the ports fail to meet these are noted, India levies a 15% import duty on silver and only allows institutions nominated by Reserve Bank of India and the Director General of Foreign Trade to import the precious white metal. So in India, if in India a firm or a company or a person wants to import white metal from some other country, then he has to take the permission from the Reserve Bank of India or the Director General of Foreign Trade. Now India levies an import duty of 15% on the silvers, but India levies a 15% import duty on white metal, but under KEPA, that's a Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement signed in 2022. India has agreed to reduce the duty on silver imports to 0% over 10 years, subject to Dubai exporters meeting the rules of origin conditions. So basically, India has agreed to reduce the duty on silver imports to 0% over 10 years, subject to Dubai exporters meeting the rules of the origin conditions. Now, so basically, this is important. That's why the trade has saw a huge surge in the year 2023, because we offer 0% import duty on silver for the next 10 years, but country has to show that this particular silver material or this silver metal has origin from which specific country. Now, earlier attempt by some banks to import silver from the UAE through other ports were questioned for not meeting rules of origin of the India UAE free trade deal. Think tank Global Trade research initiative flagged in a report. The key concern is that how imports cleared through gift city meet the rules of origin requirement specified in the CAPA. So basically, when trade were conducted through other ports, the questions were raised. Questions were raised related to the origin of the metal. But in the last 8 to 9 months, all the silver metal which is coming to India has come through the gift city. So these are the questions which are raising a which are raising an eyebrows, that whether there is a collusion between the Indian firms and the firms in UAE. So these are the questions which are being raised by various economists. But again, these things are yet to be. This is just a data. This is just a data which is just to prove different facts. But anything conclusive yet to be come. Now moving on to the next important news headline for the day. Now, this is important for us to understand. Chandrababu Naidu and Revant Reddy agree on transfer of 5 panchayats from Andhra Pradesh to Telangana. So this news will come in series because it's the bifurcation of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh just took place. The 10-year period have lapsed. 10 years have been completed. So there are a lot of meetings between the and Chandrababu Naidu and Revant Reddy just to sort things out very quickly. Excuse me. The meeting of Telangana Chief Minister A. Revanth Reddy and his Andhra Pradesh counterpart N. Chandrababu Naidu on Saturday, the first such after 4.5 years, saw some crucial decision being taken. The transfer of 5 gram panchayats around the temple town of Bhadrachalam from Andhra Pradesh to Telangana was one of the issues in focus ahead of the much awaited meeting. The two chief ministers reportedly reached a consensus on the remerger of the Gram Panchayats with Telangana to remove the differences faced by the residents in accessing medical and other services. So basically, these are the things which will take long time because two states were bifurcated in the year 2014. So this will take time. The 10-year periods have lapsed. So now things are going back to the basics. Things are going to get normal. But yes, this will take time and efforts from the chief minister of both the states, whether it's from Andhra Pradesh Chandrababu Naidu and from Telangana Revant Reddy. They both have to show utmost level of cooperation to sort things out and to provide utmost facilities to the residents of their respective states. Now moving on to the next important news headline for the day, and the next important news headline for the day is BJP gets ready for Delhi election, vows to dislodge from power. Not important because it is a political news. Pre-visit consultation included, says Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. So this is important that we are going to have we are going to we are going to witness the budget on 23rd of July 2024, and this is going to be Nirmala Sitharaman's seventh budget in her tenure. So this is also quite a great feat for her, and she had given a statement that the pre-budget consultations have been concluded amongst the various department and individuals. Now this is important for us because in the year 2024 in February, the interim budget was presented by Nirmala Sitharaman. Because of the elections, now elections were concluded. Bharatiya Janata Party has came into power again. So a full-time budget will be presented by the Nirmala Sitharaman, and this is going to be Nirmala Sitharaman's seventh financial budget in her tenure. Now moving on to the next important news headline for the day. India is facing highest rate of joblessness in 45 years. This particular statement was given by the Congress. So we have to skip political news if there is no fact in this kind of news. If there is a fact, then we will study. If there is no fact, we won't study. Hindenburg gave a Adani report to client before publishing. The US short seller Hindenburg Research had shared an advanced copy of its damning report against the Adani Group with New York-based hedge fund manager Mark Kingan about 2 months before publishing it, and profited from a deal to share spoils from the share price movement. So basically, the Hindenburg report, which was released, a few years back. So now the reports are coming that the Hindenburg has given that report to their client before publishing that report. So when they gave the report to their client, the client got a lot of benefits. Client gets a lot of benefit from that particular report. They do a various kind of malpractices to get the maximum benefit, because they were sure that once the report is released, the market is going to see a huge slump. So they took a lot of benefit from this particular report, and after that, the report was published after 2 months when it was given to from the date when it was given to the clients. So these are the things which we have to understand, that every time we see something which is look very good and very smooth, is not like that. Because Hindenburg, when they published this particular report, everybody was like that Hindenburg has done such a great thing. A Hindenburg report is going to change the dynamics of Indian stock market. But look at this particular news item, that Hindenburg has already given that report to one of their clients, and their client have benefited a lot because they got the report 2 months from before it was being published. Now, take nation into confidence on border situation on LAC. So basically, the Mallikarjun Kharge, who is the leader of opposition and the leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha, has clearly given a statement in the parliament that the ruling party should take the nation into the confidence on the actual border situation at line of actual control, because of the increasing tension between India and China, increasing the chance because of the increasing tension between India and China. This thing become this thing become very important, that the things at LHC should be informed to the citizen of India. That's why Mallikarjun Kharge has given this statement, and he has requested that the nation should be taken into confidence on border situation at LAC, line of actual control. Now, trade imbalance, Indians in Russia are army among key concerns for diaspora. So basically, during the Prime Minister visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has visited the Russia. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has visited Russia. His visit is starting from today, 8th and 9th of July 2024. And the first important information, who is India's ambassador to Russia, Mr. Vinay Kumar. Mr. Vinay Kumar. So, what are the statements or what are the key observations from this particular meeting? Tackling issues arising Tackling issues arising from the Ukraine war will be at top of the agenda for many members of the Indian diaspora who will attend a community event that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address during his Moscow visit. So basically, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to give a statement or going to give a speech or address the Indian diaspora who is living in Russia. They will attend this particular event, and the top agenda is to address the issues related to the Russia-Ukraine war for the Indian diaspora. And another important things which are being discussed in this particular bilateral meeting between Indian Prime Minister and Russian President Mr. Vladimir Putin. These include trade and payment imbalances as well as the danger to Indian recruits by the Russian military serving at the front line. So basically, the few things which were discussed, which will be discussed during this visit, are the payment imbalances and also the danger to Indian recruits who are fighting for Russia in the front line, at the front line. So this is also very important for us to understand, because there are so many Indians which are fighting at the front line and serving the Russian army. So this is also important for them, that the utmost care and utmost security and safety provided to the Indian people who are fighting at the front line for Russian army. Now moving on to the next important headline for the day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will arrive here on Monday to a particularly warm and special welcome at a private dinner hosted by Russian President Vladimir Putin at his dacha or estate in the Moscow suburb of Novogradovo. The two leaders are meeting for the first time since 2022. It is Mr. Modi's first visit to Russia since the war in Ukraine began, and his own first visit abroad for bilateral talks after being re-elected to the office in June. So this is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's first bilateral visit in his third term. His first international visit was to the G7 countries. Now this is his first bilateral visit, where he's going to meet the President of Russia, Mr. Vladimir Putin. Mr. Modi will land on Monday afternoon and receive a ceremonial welcome at Vanukau Airport to travel to his hotel across from the iconic Red Square that houses the Kremlin, where school children and members of the Indian community will greet him. The one-on-one dinner with Mr. Putin will reciprocate the dinner Mr. Modi has hosted for the Russian president during his visit to Delhi. The last time an Indian-Russian summit was held in December 2021. It is expected to the tone for the formal talks the next day. So basically, this particular dinner, which is hosted by the Russian president, will set tone for the talks which is going to be take place between Indian Prime Minister and Vladimir Putin. So these are the things that we have to understand now. The most important thing that we have to, pay heed to. The most important thing that we have to pay heed to is during that visit is that North-South Transport Corridor, the Chennai-Vladivostok Maritime Route, and the North Sea Corridor. Here two the sanctions against Russia as well as Iran are a factor and require discussion, and the two sides are expected to sign a separate agreement and cooperation in the Russian region of Far East region. So basically, this is one of the most important things that is going to be discussed between Indian Prime Minister and Russian President, the Chennai Vladivostok Maritime route. Now we are moving into the next important news headline for the day. These are the things. I hope in tomorrow's newspaper these things will be covered exhaustively. But as of now, they are basically setting a tone for this Prime Minister's visit. This particular news article is also setting tone for this Prime Minister's visit. So will be, and the rest of the itinerary is the rest of the itinerary of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is discussed in this particular article. So we are not concerned with the itinerary of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The things which are important for us is that what are the major steps or what are the major deals that were executed between India and Russia. Now moving on to the next important news headline for the day. So this is very important for us to understand that the bail is a right. That bail is a matter of right. One cannot claim bail as a matter of right, but bail is very important in the criminal cases. The Supreme Court has held that the right to bail of an accused cannot be withheld as a punishment irrespective of the nature of the crime. Refusal to grant bail is an unjust punishment leading to prisonization of an accused who is innocent until proven guilty. The Apex Court reminded. So the Apex Court has reminded that the accused cannot be held without any proper and concrete reasons in the jail. He should be given bail immediately as soon as possible, because a person who is not given bail at sometimes is an accused. So if the guilt of that particular person is not proven in the court, then what is the basis or what are the grounds on which his bail is being withheld? So this is the thing that was raised by Supreme Court, that that person is still an accused, he is yet to be proven guilty. Then in that particular cases, in these type of cases, we should provide bail immediately as soon as possible, because not giving bail to a person violates his lot of fundamental rights. Because if that person, suppose after trial that it comes out that the person was not the actual accused, he has not committed the crime, then there is nothing we can do about it. So these are the things, that's why we have to pay more attention towards these things. Now this case is important. This is the second editorial coming in last 9 days, which is related to climate change and dead specifically to MK Ranjit Singh and others versus Union of India case. Now, in a landmark judgment, the Supreme Court of India recently recognized a right to be free from adverse impacts of climate change. Now, the Supreme Court has declared a right to be free from adverse impacts of climate change. Now, Supreme Court has declared that everyone has the right to be free from adverse impacts of climate change, and this particular observation was made in the case of MK Ranjit Singh and others versus Union of India. So basically in MK Ranjit Singh and others versus Union of India, the Supreme Court has given a very important statement that everybody is free from adverse impacts of climate change. Now, from where this particular statement has been sourced. So the main source of this particular statement is Article 21 of Indian Constitution. Now, what is Article 21 of the Indian Constitution? Article 21 of the Indian Constitution clearly states that the right to life, and right to equality. Right to equality is Article 14. So Supreme Court has interpreted Article 21 and Article 14 to give this particular statement that everybody has the right to be free from adverse impacts of the climate change. We argue that this, while is India an important step in establishing climate jurisprudence in India, it raises the very important question of just how this right will be protected. Now, not only acknowledging these kinds of right that exist, these kind of right, but also protecting these kind of rights becomes very important, because if you don't protect these kind of right, then what is the point of acknowledging these kind of right? Now, moving on to the next important aspect of this particular article. Preparing India to reduce the risk of climate change and address its impacts require nothing less than reorienting development towards low carbon and climate resilient futures. So basically, what the easiest method that has been suggested by the author of this particular article is that if we want to prepare ourselves for the risk related to the climate change, the only thing that we can do is that that we should we have to reach and we have to adjust our development program, and we have to adopt for low carbon and climate resilient futures, because we have to adopt technologies which are less dependent on carbon, which will emit carbon in a very less amount. So we have to develop those kind of technologies. Now, while the concept of climate law is often associated with the top down approach of setting and achieving targets in a developing country, this approach is limited because addressing climate change is more about limiting emissions, is about more than limiting emissions. So basically, when we talk about climate change and when we talk about global carbon emission, then the only thing which will help in solving the problem of climate change is not only carbon emission. We have to focus on a lot of important areas to reduce the impact of climate change. We have to see a lot of things, but not only limiting carbon will help in reducing the carbon emission. There are other steps, other things as well, which we have to adopt to which we have to adopt to quietly deal with this problem. Now, moving on to the next important article, the next important part of this particular article, next important part of this article is that several countries according have experimented with framework climate laws that build governance capacity to address climate change. Umbrella laws that define government-wide goals and substantiate them with a set of process and accountability measures are known and increasingly popular way of bringing climate action to the heart of the government. So basically, in India, we don't have much of the laws which are related or which will protect us from the effects of the climate change. We don't have any umbrella legislation that will protect us from the effects of the climate change. Though we have certain acts which are related, which are important for the environment, like Water Act, Air Act, Pollution Water Act, Air Act, Environment Protection Act, Wildlife Protection Act. These are the acts which are already enacted in India, but we don't have an umbrella legislation which will exhaustively protect us from the impacts of the climate change. India is a developing country, and the developing countries, you know, have very less options and opportunities and tools to control the carbon emission. Sometimes it becomes very tough for a developing country to to establish a balance between the development to establish a balance between the development and how to control the carbon emission, because once they try to control the carbon emission, the production will automatically go down and their economy will be greatly impacted. So these are the things, these are the various aspects that we have to understand, and the judgment that is given in the MK Ranjit Singh case is outstandingly well, because the Supreme Court has clearly interpreted Article 21 and Article 14 of the Indian Constitution, and they have clearly stated that the right to live in a clean environment is very important. So Supreme Court has recognized this particular right. Once the Supreme Court has recognized this right, now we have to make more policies and more laws which will able to which will actually actualize this particular notion of the Supreme Court, that सबको राइट होता है, सबके पास ये राइट होता है कि वो साफ सुथरे इन्वायरमेंट में रहें, क्लीन इन्वायरमेंट में रहें, और क्लाइमेट चेंज के जो एडवर्स इम्पैक्ट हैं उसको थोड़ा सा उनसे वो बच सके. मोर ओवर, इंडिया इज हाईली वल्नरेबल टू क्लाइमेट इम्पैक्ट्स एंड क्लाइमेट रेसिलियंस मस्ट बी एन एसेंशियल एलिमेंट ऑफ द न्यू लॉ. In meeting both objectives, considerations of social equality must be central. Consequently, India's law must ensure development, but in a low carbon direction while building resilience to even more pervasive climate impact. So basically, India is going to face the effects of climate change very drastically, because why? The main reason is that when the climate will change, sea level will rise. So India has total 9 coastal states. India has total 9 coastal states, and we have a total coastal length of 7,516 kilometers. So this whole range of 7,516 kilometers will be in danger. Why? Because once the glaciers will melt. When glaciers will melt, the sea level will automatically rise. So the states which are on the coastal areas, coastal region, they will see the direct impact of the climate change. We don't have a umbrella legislation which will actually control or reduce the effect of climate change. We don't have anything like that. But we have set a few targets for ourselves. Like we will reduce carbon emission intensity by 45% टिल 2030. हम लोग कार्बन एमिशन रिड्यूस करने की जो जो कार्बन एमिशन को की इंटेंसिटी है उसको हम लोग 45% कम कर देंगे 2030 तक. अब एक लॉ की ज़रूरत क्या है? एक लॉ की ज़रूरत इसलिए भी है क्योंकि अगर जब तक अम्ब्रेला लेजिस्लेशन नहीं होगा, इफ़ यू डोंट हैव एनी अम्ब्रेला लेजिस्लेशन, देन हाउ थिंग्स विल बी इफेक्टिवली प्रोटेक्टेड. नाउ we have to make sure that there is no conflict between central government and state government in framing while framing laws related to climate change, because we are a federal country. And there is a lot of responsibility on central government to protect the thread of federalism. So we have to we have to make policies and laws which are very coextensive, which are coextensive with the existence of state. Now moving on to the next important news item for the day. Next, so basically we are skipping this particular article as of now. I mean, you can cover this particular article, but for the reason why I'm skipping this particular article, because I know once this visit of Narendra Modi is over, the newspaper is going to give a comprehensive detail about each and everything. So we can cover this particular thing from there, but again I'll suggest each and every aspirant to read this particular article, so that at least you should have a background in your mind that what are the things that are important during this particular visit. Now, the problems of special packages. Now this is also very important for us to understand that the problems of special packages, the central government or the central government or provides special packages to different states, and states government from time to time demands the special status and special packages from the central government, because this clearly say that we are not developing at a rapid pace, so we require special assistance from your end. Now these are the things that we have to understand, also leave a great impact on other states as well, because because everybody deserves equal share, equal contribution from the central government. But again, this is not practicable. This is we all know that जो ज़्यादा वीक होता है उसको ज़्यादा हेल्प मिलती है, जो कम वीक होता है उससे कम हेल्प मिलती है. So this is a kind of thing that we have to understand. Coalition politics is back at the union in a substantial way. The Bharatiya Janata Party is dependent on Janata Dal of Bihar and the Telugu Desam Party of Andhra Pradesh for the parliamentary majority. This in contrast to 2014 and 2019, when de facto single party government came to office. With single party majority becoming a thing to the past, demand for state specific discretionary grants or special packages are back with a bang in public discussion. Now, why this particular article is being discussed here, because in the year 2014 and 2019, Bharatiya Janata Party was able to secure victory single-handedly, and in this particular year they have to take the help of Janata Dal and Telugu Desam Party for forming the government. So that's why these particular states are demanding some extra and special benefits from the central government. That's why we are discussing this particular article. And there are a lot of other things as well that are important for us to understand. Suppose the importance of Article 275, which clearly states that the disbursement of grants to state in need of assistance as provided in Article 275. So Article 275 clearly states that if a particular state is in the need of extra funds, then the central government should provide that. But again, we have to understand one thing, that before 4th of June 2024, these two states were not demanding anything like that. But again, after the elections were completed, the results were announced, they have given their support to the Bharatiya Janata Party. Now they are demanding each and everything, and I hope and I'm very much sure that Bharatiya Janata Party will provide some kind of financial assistance or the some special package to these kinds of states. Now this article is also very important, that the Kerala government has started, or the Kerala Education Department has started a 4-year undergraduate program. On July 1, institutions of higher education in Kerala rolled out the 4-year undergraduate program. The 4-year undergraduate program began with the formulation of Kerala State Higher Education Curriculum Framework by the Kerala State Curriculum Committee headed by Suresh Das. So Kerala has introduced 4 year long undergraduate program, and they have, they have also made the required or prerequisite changes in the curriculum as well. So they are all set to launch a 4 year long undergraduate program. Now moving on to the next important news item for the day, and the next important news item for the day, we will be moving into the business sector. Now, AI can help boost speed-based safety by effective monitoring traffic. So we all know that we all understand the emergence of AI will solve a lot of problems. Now, moving on to the next important news item. The Food Safety and Standards Authority of India mandates salt, sugar, fat info in bold. So now each and every company which is producing, edible and eatable items, they have to, clearly write the contents related to salt, sugar, and fat into bold characters so that people can easily understand that, and people can easily look into this one. Right now what happened is कि इतना छोटा छोटा सारा इंफॉर्मेशन लिख देते हैं सैशे और पैकेट पे कि आप अगर उस इंफॉर्मेशन को देखना भी चाहें तो आपको इंफॉर्मेशन देखने को ही नहीं मिलेगी, क्योंकि फॉन्ट साइज इतना छोटा कर देंगे और उसमें कोई स्पेशल फीचर नहीं रहता कि उसको बॉन्ड बोल्ड में करते हैं, इटैलिक्स में करते हैं, ताकि इंसान इजीली आइडेंटिफाई कर सके। पहले आपको ना उसमें रिसर्च करना होगा, यू हैव टू डीप डाइव, फिर आप उसमें 2 मिनट जब पढ़ेंगे तब आपको समझ में आ गया कि अच्छा हाँ, इसमें इतना शुगर है, इतना फैट और इतना सॉल्ट है। सो नाउ फूड सेफ्टी एंड स्टैंडर्ड्स अथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया क्लियरली मैंडेटेड दिस थिंग कि अब सारी कंपनीज को ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन सॉल्ट, शुगर और फैट से रिलेटेड जो है उसे बोल्ड में लिखना होगा। नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट न्यूज हेडलाइन फॉर द डे। This is from international news section. So Iran's president Pezeshkian, Iran's reformist Masoud Pezeshkian will be sworn in before parliament in early August as the Islamic Republic's ninth president. So basically, Masoud Pezeshkian is going to be the ninth president of Iran, and he is going to be administer oath in the month of August. So this is one important news coming from the Iran that Iran has elected its new president, and he is Masoud Pezeshkian. Now moving on to the next important news headline for the day. NATO nations feel the urge to spend as Trump triggers a Cold War reflex. So basically, for the first time, NATO has successfully achieved a spending target of 2% of global GDP. So yeah, this is a year after turning the 2% of benchmark from a target to a floor for spending at a summit in Vilnius. A growing number of NATO allies are ready to pushing to go further. So basically, so the benchmark was set at 2%. Now many of the countries are forcing that we should increase it to 4% or 6%. The global spending by the NATO, no, spurred on by Russia's war in Ukraine and the specter of Donald Trump's potential return to the US White House, more European members of the NATO are finally hitting the alliance's defense spending target. Now, a decade after setting a spending target goal at 2% of global of gross domestic product, just over two-thirds of NATO's 32 countries are expected to reach our top threshold. So basically, this was the target set by the NATO in the year 2014, that they will spend a minimum of 2% of the GDP of the members of the NATO. अब जो NATO के जितने भी members हैं उनकी जो पूरी जीडीपी है, उनकी जो पूरी जीडीपी मिला करके उसका वो लोग 2% स्पेंड करेंगे किस पे, नाटो से रिलेटेड एक्सपेंसेस पे। तो ये टारगेट अभी तक एक बार भी अचीव नहीं हुआ था, बट इन द ईयर 2023 इट वाज अचीव्ड। नाउ some institute or the some nations are pushing that this particular नंबर शुड बी इंक्रीज। अभी तक था कि सिर्फ 2% जो उनकी इंटायर कंबाइंड जीडीपी है, सिर्फ उस 2% जीडीपी को ही उन्हें स्पेंड करने का टारगेट था, बट इसको कुछ लोगों ने सजेस्ट किया कि 3% करना चाहिए, कुछ ने सजेस्ट किया 4% और कुछ ने तो 6% तक सजेस्ट किया है। So these are the things which are very important, and we all know the elections in the USA is going to have a lot of impact on this particular thing. Now we are moving into the sports section of the today's newspaper. So the first and the important news headline is that Abhishek Sharma, who made his debut for India against the Zimbabwe. This was his second match, and he has scored a century in his second T20I international. Now moving on to the next important news headline. Sunil Chhetri now fully focused on delivering for Bangalore FC. So this is also important, but yeah, moving on. So this is the all about sports section. Bagnaia wins German Grand Prix after Martin's crash. So basically, this is from MotoGP section. Hamilton ends 945-day wait to capture his 104th victory. So Louis Hamilton held off Max Verstappen in the British Grand Prix at Silverstone on Sunday. So Louis Hamilton has won a British Grand Prix on Sunday, and this particular victory has ended a 945-day long wait for Louis Hamilton. With this, we have completed the news analysis of 8th of July 2024. I request each and every student who is watching this particular news analysis video that things are going at very quick pace. You have to catch up. You have to start studying very smartly and focus on your studies. And I wish you all the very best for your future endeavors. आप लोग जो भी करना चाहें आप सब लोग वो सारी चीज़ें अचीव करें. बट अगेन न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ना इंपॉर्टेंट है. अगर और एक चीज़ हमेशा याद रखिए, this analysis video is not a substitute of newspaper. So you have to understand one thing कि जो newspaper का objective is something very different from the analysis video. So you have to maintain a balance between these two things, and I hope आप लोगों को ये चीज़ समझ में आई होगी. On this note, I will end today's video analysis. Thank you so much for watching today's video analysis. Thank you so much.